Pretty good? Well, y'all know who I am. I have a very special person here with me. This is my beautiful girlfriend, Taylor, and I'm going to let her introduce herself real quick.
Hi guys, so yeah, I'm Taylor. I am a junior at Young Harris College. I'm an early childhood education major, so love kids, that's great. Yeah.
Wow, yeah. Woo!
I am from Clayton, Georgia, so I'm practically local, so mountain girl, unlike Austin who fakes it, who's from Atlanta.
Yep.
So, yeah.
I'm a little city boy.
Yep.
I'm a wannabe. Worry about that? Like, literally this morning, so have you ever been to Sawmill in Blairsville? Yeah. Well, you know, we get there and have a meal, it was a great meal, and then at the end I walked up to scan my debit card and declined. I was like, oh no, here we go. Well, I had $14 in my pocket, but like the total was like $18.95 or something like that. So I had to look to Taylor to spot me. So guys, you want to look for a girl like this. He's going to spot you. And he's not going to make you feel horrible whenever you only have $12 to your name. So, yeah. I hadn't transferred the money out of my savings account. All right. I really do have more money than that. The questions that we're going to answer tonight are, when are you ready to date? When do you decide who to date? And how do you date? So, first of all, when are you ready to date? And first of all, with us, like, Jesus is like the number one thing in both of our lives. So like that was the automatic question, is where are they at with their relationship with Jesus? Like I was looking at Taylor and seeing the first thing that I'm looking for is a girl who is serious about her relationship with Jesus. And for us, like really that really corresponded with our relationship, has really been approached prayerfully. And you know, like that has to be the center of who you are. Whether you're dating, whether you're single, whether you're married, like you have to have prayer at the center of what you're doing. You have to have your relationship with Jesus in order. So first of all, top priority, you have to be right there with Jesus.
And second of all, we were talking about like you need to identify your motives as to like why you want to date. So just because like you're around that age and you think, hey, this would be fun, that may not be the best reason to jump into a relationship with someone. So a couple bad reasons of like why you wouldn't want to jump into a relationship is like, are you lonely? I know that's hard, especially in high school. A lot of people start dating. So just because you're not, like, that's okay. And two, like, is it for the status? That's not important. Austin and I aren't even Facebook official yet.
No,
I don't think.
we're not FBO.
Months, so
nope.
It's fine.
Yeah, and that's okay. And another kind of bad reason that a lot of us, you know, we desire, like, well, it isn't a bad thing to desire intimacy, but if that's if that's the reason why you're going into a relationship, or the reason why you're going to start dating, if you just want to kiss somebody or make out with them, like, not a very good motive. That's going to be the main motive behind what you're doing. So yeah, like, you know, are you wanting the status? Are you wanting to just, you know, have the FBO, to have it official on Facebook, on Snapchat, on Instagram, whatever? Like, you want to have like the little, in your little profile on Instagram, you want to have the little heart, you know, Taylor Beck. I don't have that in mind. Those things aren't bad to do, but if that's like the reason or a main motive behind why you're dating, like, that's just not good. And with us, we've realized, like, going through just listening to some different sermons and stuff about dating, dating is a process of evaluation, and you are evaluating that person to see if you want to spend the rest of your life with them. So that's the reason why Taylor and I are dating. We're evaluating each other to see if we want to spend the rest of our lives with each other, because we're dating with the intent of marriage. Where are you getting your contentment? Where are you getting your joy? Where are you getting your peace from? Am I getting that from Taylor, or am I getting that from God? And the answer is that Taylor, she can give me those things temporarily, but only Jesus can come in and do that eternally. So, like, ultimately, even though I'm dating Taylor, like, I'm getting my contentment, my joy, my peace, my everything from Jesus, not from her. Because that's a weight that's too heavy for Taylor to hold on to, you know?
So the big answer here is, like, you aren't ready to date until Christ is your number one. And he is, like, all that you put your hope in and all you seek your validation from. Because, like Austin said, if you were to find his hope and joy and peace in me, or other, like, that would be the other way around, then he would be my idol, and that is the place of God. And so by keeping God first and like having him be your first priority, it'll eliminate other gods in your life.
Yeah, that's right. So how do we keep ourselves away from how do I keep myself away from from making Taylor one of my idols or my God, because it's easy for us to do as human beings, right? Like, it's easy for us to put a whole lot of other stuff in front of our relationship with Jesus, but there's only one spot for Jesus in our lives, and he's supposed to be number one, no exception. So how do we stay away from that? And I'm just going to kind of give a little bit of advice to like some guys, first of all. So with me, guys, listen up to this. On the subject of lust, we are so quick to make a woman an object. We are so quick to do that. I've been guilty of it. I know probably every single guy sitting in here has done that. And JP talked a little bit about that last week, about how we objectify people, and or I think it was 2 weeks ago when we had the pineapple talk. That was a fun talk, wasn't it? So like, we're so quick to make a woman an object, and that is never ever the way that God intended for a woman to be. Like, what a woman truly is that she is a child of God. She is a daughter of the Most High King, and she's a prized possession in the diamond of God's eye. That's what she really is. And that's how we, as guys, as men, should look at girls. We should not be objectifying them. We should not be, making them an object. And one thing in here, too, that I was going to kind of throw in here is, guys, honestly, like, a big deal to me is, like, treating Taylor with the utmost respect. And honestly, treating any woman that I come in contact with the utmost respect. And I'm going to be honest, like, some of the guys in here, just witnessing you guys, like, you guys don't give women the respect that they deserve. I'm just going to hit you with that, like, really hard. But, like, it's true. And I'm not going to, like, try to blanket that a little bit. But there's some of you guys that need to mature and to wake up a little bit and to start treating girls the way they deserve to be treated, the way that God wants you to treat them. And one thing I want to say on the subject of that, too, is, like, if you can't control where your hands are going, you don't need to be dating. You need to be able to have self-control over yourself before you drag somebody else into your situation or into your mess. And so that's something that I've tried to do the best I can. And one thing, too, like, we do want to say, like, we're not perfect. Like, me and Taylor, we're not perfect. Like, we're doing the best we can to follow these guidelines. We're in this process just like you guys are. But we're doing the best we can, but we're not always perfect. But that's one thing that I really have, like, we're doing pretty well at. Is just like, I also would know, like, with Taylor, like, if I tried to put my hands anywhere they weren't supposed to be, whoo, man, I would be in trouble. I would come here with
She has a taser.
Yeah, or I would be in ICU. I don't know, one of the two. Also, on the subject of that, on the subject of respecting girls, like, you should never, ever force a girl to do more physically with you than she wants to do. Like, that is a big, big no-no. Like, if ladies, like, if you have a guy that is trying to force you to do more than what you want to do, you need to get out of that relationship. And if, guys, you can't control that, you need to get out of your relationship. You need to get yourself right. So that's something that, like, I've had to mature into some and all that, and, like, because it takes self-control.
Yeah, definitely. I have some points for some girls. So I'll also hit the guys, and I'm going to say this. So I think a lot of problems, I know I struggle with this in general, and I feel like most girls do, is seeking validation and seeking confirmation in people. So I'm just here to tell you, Jesus Christ is all you need, period. And I know a lot of times it's really easy, like, girls naturally just, like, feed off of each other and, like, they want to feel important, they want to feel validated, they want to feel needed. And so, like, through several, like, outputs we do that, like, through social media, we like to have our likes, we like to gain guys' attention, maybe we like to wear a lot of makeup, maybe it's, like, how you dress. But I'm just here to tell you that, like, you are not ready to enter a relationship with a guy if you aren't fully connected with your relationship with Christ and letting him validate you and make you relevant in your own life.
Yeah. So another point I want to hit on that is we as guys too, like, on the subject of lust, like, we got to defeat the enemy before the enemy attacks. And how that looks is, like, you got to take your thoughts captive. And that comes out of 2 Corinthians 10:5. But where do those trashy thoughts or those lustful thoughts, where do they come from? There's a root that they're coming from. And I can tell you 99% of the time, it's what you're putting into your mind that is producing those thoughts. So if you're listening to trashy music, if you're watching some trashy YouTube videos, if you're watching really bad TV shows on Netflix and stuff that have like a lot of sex in them, a lot of drinking and all that type of stuff, like you're putting trashy stuff like that into your mind, like you're gonna have that's gonna have an effect on you that you don't even realize. And a big thing with that is pornography. Pornography is a huge thing nowadays with guys and girls, and that completely wrecks our minds. With how we think about other people, that objectifies people, like JP was talking about. So you want to put yourself in a situation that's going to help you succeed. And that's what me and Taylor really have tried to do in our relationship, is that in our personal lives, whenever we're apart, whenever we're doing stuff on our own, like we're trying to make sure that we are being the best people we can, so that I'm setting myself up for success, and also so I'm setting her up for success. And so that whenever we're together, we're not messing up, we're not getting into situations that we shouldn't. So
how do you decide, like right now, if a girl or a guy in here, and they are at that stage in their relationship with Jesus, they do have their identity, they're working on that, like their relationship with Jesus is powerful, and they know that they're in a point where they want to date, which is probably in college, right? It's probably not now in high school or whatever. So they're at this point where they want to date. Like, how do you pick who you date? Like, how did you pick Taylor, and how did Taylor end up with you?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So ultimately, our mission as followers of Jesus Christ is to be the best woman of God I can be, or the best man of God you can be. And so the way I look at dating, and the way I look at dating, period, is that there really isn't a need for me to have a boyfriend unless that boyfriend makes me a better woman of God I can be than I could be on my own. It's a partnership, it's a team, it's going off and do ministry and doing life together. And so a big part of deciding like why to date Austin is we have similar characteristics, and we like strive for the same things. We both love Jesus so much, and we both like love ministry. But more important than that, we just like prayed about who God has for us, and like who's the best God has for us. Because oftentimes you can be in a relationship with someone, and they may be a great person, but they might not be like the best God has for you.
Yeah.
And so really just giving that to the Lord and allowing Him to write your story, and don't force anything.
Yeah.
I think is really important.
And like our relationship started prayerfully, like completely from the beginning. I don't know if you want to like share your side of it, and I'll share my side.
Yeah,
but
so Austin and I have been dating for 5 months now, but we've known each other
Officially.
We've known each other our whole time young here. He's a senior and I'm a junior. So I have had my eyes on Austin for a long time, like a pretty long time. So I think my freshman year, so I'm a junior now. So my freshman year is kind of a joke. I saw Austin around, and in my mind I thought like, wow, he's pretty cute. Like he loves Jesus. Like wow, that prospect. And so in my mind I was thinking, Lord, like let me date him. Like that'd be really cool. But at first it was just like kind of like, oh whatever. But then like the more I saw him, the more I was like, God, like I don't know what it is, but like he loves you. He loves kids. He loves like loving on people through that love you've given him. And that's just really attractive, and I'd like to date him. But so for about a year, I prayed to potentially date Austin without telling anyone about it. I was just like, God, like, you're awesome. So if you want this to happen, like, I entrust this with you. So that happened pretty much half of freshman year, all of sophomore year. And at the end of sophomore year, we started hanging out, kind of talking a little, but nothing serious. And I was like, oh, yeah, all right, God, like, this is great. Like, you're lining things up. And then summer hits, nothing happens, we go our separate way, and we go work. And so through the summer, God just really had to like break me down. And God's like, all right, Taylor, like you've been praying for this guy to be your boyfriend for a long time, but like, why are you praying that? And he just had to like invade my heart and let me know that I am not obligated to be married to anyone. You're not obligated to do life with someone. And his biggest thing for me is just like telling me, Taylor, like I am all you need, and I should be enough. Like, you shouldn't be wanting something else when I am right here. And so I had to come to that realization. I'm like, you know what, God, like, you're right. You are enough. And it, like, just by having the chance to love and serve you, I will give you my everything and be the best woman of God I can be. And if one day you decide to bring Austin into my life, or anyone else into my life that can make me a better woman of God than I can be with them, than I can alone, then I'll give them the time of day. So then we come back fall semester, start hanging out some more for about a month, talking. And there came a day where I was like tired of praying about it. I got kind of frustrated actually, and I was like, God, like this has been almost a year and a half, like 2 years going on. And I was like, I am tired of praying for this. Like, come on, like it's time to go. And I just had to fully surrender that. So there was a day, I think it was August 17th this semester, And I just got on my knees in my dorm room and I wrote my prayer journal. I said, if the same God is big enough and great enough to take a breath and put the stars in the sky, then the same God is big enough to make this happen. And if it isn't, he's big enough to let me get over this and do what I need to do.
Yep. And what's funny is that day, same day she did that, had no idea. She wrote that down in her prayer journal. That night, I texted her and said, hey, you want to go on a walk tonight and catch up? And in my mind, that was like, all right, I'm going to like let her know, like, I'm thinking about asking her out on a date or on an official date. And that's what happened that night. So it's pretty cool to see how like God literally intervened into our story. And he just showed us like, he made sure that Taylor was ready. He made sure that I was ready as well. And because like I kind of had my eye on Taylor since April, but I just kind of wasn't acting on it because we prayerfully were considering it. I was praying about it too.
But another thing too, like during that time, I know in our society today, it's accepted for a girl to approach a guy about liking them. And several times I like contemplated, I was like, oh, I really like Austin. Like maybe I should tell him, like, oh, whatever. But the more I thought about it, the more God just like said, no, like you have to trust me with your life. You have to allow me to write that story. Mm-hmm. And you would be doing a disservice to him to not let him pursue me. Mm-hmm. And so kind of just giving that to God and allowing Austin to have the opportunity if that arose.
Yeah. Something cool too that Taylor wrote in one of my first letters to me. I think it was like maybe like after 1 or 2 months. I can't remember.
It was our first month.
Our first month.
Yeah.
She wrote down just like this little diagram, and I think there's a slide of it. It's a triangle, and it basically has, so like if it has Taylor on one side, it has me on the other side. As we both are pursuing God and we're getting closer to God, we're also getting closer to each other. So that's what we've really tried to make. We've tried to incorporate into our relationship, and it's worked pretty well. It's been awesome. But that just like awed me about her. But I mean, I hope y'all like see like why I'm dating her. Like she's freaking awesome. So one of the first things that I looked for and I saw in Taylor is that she is a Proverbs 31 woman. Does anybody know what Proverbs 31, I think it's 8 says? Charm is deceptive, beauty is fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. And let me tell you, Taylor Beck is a God-fearing woman. And I think you guys can tell that just from like the words that she said tonight. She completely has Jesus way above where I'm at. I am not her idol. She has Jesus way more as a priority than where I'm at. So yeah, that's a really big deal. But also something that has awed me about Taylor is her purity. And that is like, a lot of times we're like, as guys, we're just like, oh yeah, we like, we're very like visual. We like to see things. And Taylor does an amazing job of wearing clothing that does not allow me to stumble. Does that make sense? She's very modest in the way she dresses. She's not trying to show off anything that's physical because she knows where her true treasure is. It's in her heart and who she is as a woman.
And I think for girls, like a reason to do that is like when you're looking to prospect like a guy to date, like you want a guy to want you for what's on the inside, not what's on the outside.
Yeah. And like I'm just gonna say it straight out. Like guys, if girl's trying to show off her boobs or her butt to you, you need to get away from her. Like not something you should be getting into. Because guess what? Those things might look good right now, but wait 50 years down the road, And that's just the truth. I'm after marriage. I'm not after a short-term relationship. I'm serious about what I'm doing. So that's good. I really appreciate the way that she dresses because it keeps me in check and it keeps us out of trouble. But also just some other general characteristics like, is she enjoyable to be around? Is she full of drama? Like Taylor, she's the most undramatic person ever. I'm so much more dramatic than she is. So, because I grew up with 2 sisters and a mom, so like I'm pretty dramatic. But like Taylor is so undramatic, and I really appreciate that about her because honestly, I don't have time for drama. Like there are so much more things to do in life than worry about stupid petty things that aren't going to matter tomorrow. So like. Does she fight with her friends? Taylor, I've never seen her in an argument or a fight. Anytime there's a disagreement between us so far, or between anybody that she's come in contact with, it's always handled in a way that's so loving and in a way that's so positive, and nobody ever raises their voice or anything like that. So is she a girl that gets in fights with girls all the time, with all her friends all the times? Like, if that's a girl that, if you're not wanting somebody that's dramatic, then stay away from that girl. Don't go anywhere near her. Be her friend, but don't be her girlfriend. Does she gossip? One thing I also really commend about Taylor, she does not gossip. She does not talk about people behind their back. And it's like really a big pet peeve of mine, because like, I just can't imagine. I just like to think like, I can hear this person, I'm listening to this person talk, and if the person that they're talking about was sitting in front of them, they would never say these things in front of their face. I never see Taylor gossip. And most importantly, is she driven by God's word? Like I said, Taylor is a God-fearing woman, and she is in the word every single day. She's serious about it. It's the first priority. It's a priority that's way above me. So, also something that I want to put in there too. Taylor, like, she had to be, like, she was patient and she waited on me, right? Like, for some reason, for whatever reason, I just was not ready for that time. She did not make it known to me. I had no idea. While she had feelings for me, but, I just hadn't had those feelings yet. She just, she was patient, she waited, and she kept it between her and Jesus. And that just shows what a woman truly is. Every woman longs to be pursued and fought for. So I, as the man, am the pursuer, all right? Ladies, you don't need to be the one to ask a man out. The man needs to take the initiative to be the pursuer and ask you out. So be patient and wait. And yeah, if it might take a couple years, and that's okay, because you're gonna end up with the right person. Make sure that you're right with the Lord first. But as a man, one of my favorite John Eldridge quotes is, "Every man longs for a battle to fight, a beauty to rescue, and an adventure to live." I want to fight for her heart. I want to pursue her heart. If she's trying to pursue my heart, honestly, that's not a very attractive thing to me. And she never did that. She waited on me to come and to pursue her. So that was a really big deal. And also just there's no rush into forever. If there's a girl that's on the market, I guess you could say, I don't mean to objectify, I've been talking about not objectifying, but if there's somebody out there that's available and you're thinking, oh, this might be my chance to get in there, consider it prayerfully first. And if it's meant to happen, if it's meant to work out, God's going to make it work out in His timing, not in a rush time, Because a lot of times we just like to go in there and just try to oh, this is my chance, I'm just going to run in there, and it doesn't work out.
You really need to trust God to write your story. Just give that to Him, because He can write it way better than you could probably ever imagine. Ladies, I want to talk to you just a minute more about who you're looking for when deciding to date. And you want a man who is also fearing of the Lord, because a guy who fears the Lord and has the Lord as his number one priority, he will respect you and treat you as you should be treated. I think one thing I've experienced in the past, like Austin and I said, we're not perfect at dating. That's not why we're up here. We're up here because it has kind of been our mission together to learn how to date biblically and try to implement those things, because we have both previously been in relationships that was not the case. And a lot of times, those can end really ugly. You can end up hurt with those things. But I know personally, I look for a gentleman, and Austin is very much so a gentleman. And I don't have to worry about him pressuring me to do anything, period, ever. I don't have to worry about him disrespecting me in any way. One way Austin is really went above and beyond, being a gentleman to me. So this is pretty known fact, but when you start to date someone, you like someone, ultimately you want to kiss them. Yeah? That's what happens, pretty much?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first time Austin kissed me, he asked for permission, which I thought was amazing, because that let me know that he was more interested in my feelings and my heart than my body. And I think that's really important in looking for a guy.
Yeah. And honestly, that's really good advice. Honestly, and I think I told Taylor this, I had never heard of, it just never had crossed my mind, to ask a girl permission to kiss her. I thought you just, went in and did it. But, a month before that happened, somebody that was mentoring me told me that. And I was like, yeah, I need to do that. I need to be a gentleman that way, if I'm really trying to be a gentleman. So, so that was just kind of a real life example right there, of us just trying to keep Jesus in the center and do everything. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. I know most of y'all's story leading up to that point because I got to see Austin all giddy through all of that stuff. But so now we've talked about getting ready to date. We've talked about selecting who you're going to date. So now that you guys have been dating and you've been dating for 5 months, that makes you an expert now on dating, right? No, not at all.
No.
So tell me now, like you're trying to date biblically, like you said. If you could give any advice that you've learned over the past 5 months, or really over your lifetime as you're dating, I guess just share with us, like if somebody in here is dating right now, or when they eventually get to the point where they can date, what advice would you give them as we wrap up your date?
Inside the dating.
Definitely want to date with the intent of marriage, like we said before. Like that's the most important thing. So with that being said, like when you date someone, going back to like the kissing thing, obviously like when you date someone, you want to be physical with someone, but it's really important that you need to discuss those physical boundaries with whoever you're dating before anything happens. So that way you clear up any misconceptions and you know like what is safe for you. Because I'm not gonna kissing isn't good for everyone, and it's definitely all about your motives of like why you're doing certain things. But once you discuss those things, like it just makes it safe for everyone.
Yeah. And like, just kind of throwing in there, like, what does the Bible say about marriage? And ultimately, like, this can be something that you talk about in small groups or whatever. But like, we are the bride of Christ, and Jesus is our groom. And so whenever we die and we go to heaven, we're going to be united with Jesus. And that's supposed to be what marriage represents here on this earth. Whenever we die, we're going to be united with that person. So marriage is supposed to represent that, waiting and being patient and for the right time, so whenever the time comes, you can truly be united with that person, just like we will be with Jesus one day. So we're preparing ourselves in our dating relationship so that we will be ready on that day, whoever it is, if it's each other, if it's somebody else, because like we said, like we're just dating right now, we're not engaged, anything like that. Like there's no definite. So like we are setting both of us up for success no matter what happens, so that we are ready whenever that day comes with our spouse, that we're ready for that.
Also in the Bible, like there isn't a lot about dating. In the Bible you read, and it's like the relationship with people is like Austin is either a brother and sister, or like a brother in Christ, or like a husband. Like there's really not a lot of leeway time. And so in dating too, you just need to keep in mind that like Austin is a brother in Christ, and Austin is a child of God, and so you need to respect each other in those mannerisms.
Yeah. So, big thing with that, how do you prepare yourself? How do you make yourself ready? So, like, this is how we date. We're just going to give you guys a few little quick tips. We stay away from our bedroom. One thing just to lay out there, like, we go to college, and honestly, at our college, it's not that strict. Like, we could spend the night with each other every single night if we wanted to.
Together if we really wanted to.
Like
we know
could.
That's not what God wants.
We know that's not the way, God's word says. So, like, we stay away from our bedrooms, period. Like, whenever she's over at my apartment, we are in the kitchen or the living room with the blinds open, lights on, all that. We're making sure we're staying far away from any of those physical boundaries that we don't want to cross. Also, we never go in my bedroom or in her bedroom with the door closed. Like, that's not a place that we need to be by ourselves, because that sets us up for failure, and we want to set ourselves up for success. We don't spend the night together, period. Like, don't happen.
We went home with each other. Like, Austin will come home with me, or I'll go home with him, but when that happens, normally Austin sleeps on the couch, and I sleep in the bedroom. So.
Yep.
And your dad sleeps with a shotgun.
Actually, Taylor's dad owns over 160 guns, so.
And one of the first times I brought him home, Dad's like, I'm going to take that boy hunting. And you're like,
yep. Yeah, we won't
Amen.
Together. Yeah, so I don't put my hand anywhere below her belt or anywhere in her chest area. Like, that's just like complete, like, we stay away from that. Because if something like that got out of hand, it could turn out to be really bad, and not be where God wants you to be. You want to stay out of any situation that will make you susceptible or make you able to fall into sexual sin. So you want to stay far, far away from those things. Because like I said, like, you want to defeat the enemy before the enemy attacks. like before the enemy attacks. That means like not in the heat of the moment, because we all know like we're human beings. So like if we put ourselves in the right situation at the right time, we're going to react in a certain way, no matter what, whether we want to do it or not. So we make these parameters and we do these things in advance so that we do not allow the enemy to tempt us beyond what we can take.
The big part is just like eliminating that opportunity. Like don't give the devil that opportunity.
Yeah.
So just like don't go there. Don't put it there.
Yeah. So like kind of just like a quick little visual, like y'all know where the Grand Canyon is, right? If you were to drive there by car, it's about 1,700 miles away, all right? It'd take you about a day and a half to get there. Long time on I-40, all right? Long time. So I've done it. So, well, no, I haven't. I've been to Utah. Anyways, the Grand Canyon is a long ways away, and if for some reason someone was trying to push me into the Grand Canyon and I'm sitting here in Hiawassee, Georgia, good luck, you know? Like, it's not going to happen. There's like a very, 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 very small chance that it's going to happen. In the same way, with the boundaries you put up, with the line that you put up, you want to stay, you don't want to ride that line as close as you can, because so many of us, we try to say, ooh, how close can I get to the line without sinning?
Which is the wrong question.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if God is like the number one in your heart, then like you say, God, like how can this time be pleasing to you? Instead of like how close can I be like from away from you without being too far?
Yeah. So like it's dishonoring to God to do that. So like, and the thing is if we're riding right there on the line and the enemy comes and he tries to push us over the line, he tries to get us to sin, it's going to be pretty easy for him to push us over. But if we're standing far, far away from the line, if we're trying to stay as far away from the line as possible from sexual sin, we're going to put up these parameters and we're going to make sure that we get nowhere near that. We want to be as far away as possible from the line so that we don't fall into those things. So that's just like a big thing that you told me about that example. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, so the moral of the story is you can't fall into the Grand Canyon from Georgia. So
Nope.
Keep some distance.
Nope. So one idea too that me and Taylor hold, we don't complete each other. A lot of people are looking for the person that's going to complete them, you know, like
You're never going to find that.
yeah. And like ultimately our completion is only supposed to come from Jesus Christ. Like that's the only thing that's supposed to come from
Because
ultimately.
when you're completed in like whoever you're dating, it just leaves for a lot of hurt when
Yeah.
something doesn't go wrong.
Yeah. So we complement each other well. You want to look for somebody that's going to complement you well. So what that means is I'm a very talkative person. Like I can interact.
We know.
Thanks.
You have many words. She has very wise words.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I'm dating her, because we complement each other well. So like Taylor, like she waits till the right opportune time to talk, and she's okay if it's just silent. That's okay. For me, I hate silence. Like I'm just like ooh, like I don't like to sit in silence. But like with her, she's just like oh, that's fine. She's like literally the most chill person. I'm not. So like we complement each other well. And she brings out qualities in me that make me a better man, and I bring out qualities in her that make her a better woman. So you want to look for somebody that does that for you.
And also, like, when you talk about complimenting people, it's not so much the physical and, like, social attributes. It's also spiritually. So, like, you want someone who is going to, like, really push you to grow closer with your relationship in Christ. And I think that's one thing we've really tried to keep each other accountable. Anytime we think that we are like potentially making each other idol, like we'll ask each other about it. Like, how's your relationship with Jesus? Like, what's going on? And so like you want someone who will only like compliment you like around everyday life, but also like compliment you to push you closer to Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. So real quick, I know we're running on time, but one big thing, we've been dating for 5 months, and like we said, we don't know if we ultimately are the ones that are going to end up. We don't know if we're going to end up together married one day. That's definitely a possibility, but we're not sure of that right now. We're still in the middle of this process of evaluation, just like a lot of y'all are. A lot of y'all are looking, and you're trying to seek, or like, ooh, is that person like a good fit for me? Like we're in kind of the same situation. I'm trying to see like, is this somebody that I really can do life with for the rest of my life? But we're dating in a way. What's really cool about our relationship is me and Taylor, we're dating in a way. If we broke up tomorrow, for some reason, we woke up tomorrow and we just felt the Lord just calling us to a different place. Like, if we broke up, we can look back on our relationship with one another and we can see there is nothing lost to our relationship. We only gain from everything that we've experienced together.
And in a Christ-centered relationship, if something happens, like, and it's only meant for this season, you can walk away from that relationship with no physical or emotional baggage attached to that person. And ultimately, like, that's what God wants for you.
Yeah. So like we've been dating in that way, and like, you know, that's setting both of us up for success, right? So like I want her best interest. My best interest is her best interest. Like even if it's separate one day, like cool. Like I want to set her up for success, and she wants to set me up for success. So working in that way is just like super important to us. So just to kind of wrap these things up really quick, like dating should be prayerfully considered. Like bottom line, just like with us, like prayerfully meaning like it doesn't just happen on the flip of a dime.
It takes
like,
time, and like you
yeah,
have
it
to
does.
really trust God with those wants and desires, and trust that ultimately He will fulfill those desires, whether it means like bringing you someone to date or not, because
Yeah.
God uses single people every single day.
Yeah. And then dating also is a process of evaluation. That's a big thing for us. Like we are not looking to complete each other; we're looking to complement each other.
And that's another reason too, like why spending a lot of time alone isn't necessarily good, obviously for physical reasons, but also when you're evaluating someone, you can see the best and worst in them when they're around other people. So you want to know like how they treat others.
Yeah, yeah. And also, like, we're not messing around. We're looking for a potential spouse. Like, I'm evaluating Taylor, and it's not like I'm putting all this pressure on her. We're just being ourselves. And we're evaluating each other, and we're seeing, all right, can we really do life together one day? And we're dating with the end in mind. We're dating with marriage in mind. Ultimately, the goal and the point that the reason why we are dating is to get married one day. So just to kind of like open this up just a little bit, like I know there's some people in here, like you look on your life and you're like, Austin and Taylor, like I have screwed up. Like I have so much baggage. Like there's so much stuff that I've done. I'm that type of person you've been talking about that tries to show off their body. The reason why I want a relationship is just so I'm not lonely, or so I want that relationship status, you know, whatever. And I just want to let you guys know that, like, you can start making steps in the right direction tonight. Like, you're never in a hole that's too deep that Jesus can't bring you out of. Like, He's the almighty, powerful God. He can do anything. Even if you have sexual baggage that you have in the back, you're like, Austin, man, I've had sex with, like, multiple people, like, and I hate it. Like, it nags at me. I just want to tell you, like, Jesus wants to bring you redemption. And He'll bring you redemption. He'll bring you healing. And He'll give you a fresh new start. And so, yeah, like, those things are real. And, like, we want to be, you know, real in this place. But I just want you guys to know that there's redemption for you. And there's healing for you. And there's a fresh start. And if you really feel in your heart, there's a desire in your heart to get married one day, which I know a lot of us in this room have that. Like, God can make that happen. Even if you feel like I am just so unworthy, God wants to make you worthy. He wants to make you clean. He wants to make you confident and pure, and He will. And it starts now. Like, start making those decisions. Start setting up those parameters. If you need to break up with somebody because you're not making good decisions together, break up with them. If you need some time to get right with the Lord, do that. Like, that's a big deal. I've known a lot of people that have done that in the past. And get yourself ready so whenever that person comes, whenever that person, you and that person start to date, you're ready to go. And you're not bringing in any baggage into the relationship and not holding them back, and they're not holding you back. So that's just like something to think about.
Hey, that's good. Y'all give Austin and Taylor a hand. Wow. Hey, so I want to y'all can go down, but so I want to say this: when you date somebody, you don't just date them; you date their family. And so Taylor's never joined us, so this is her time with us. This is like her first dinner with the family. So this is from all of us. And thank you, Taylor. So.